Okay, so today's report was sent in by one of our viewers, and it's a CBC article with a travel agent. We already know that travel is down, we already know that Canadians are going elsewhere, and we definitely know that the United States is losing out. None of this is breaking news. But the reason this travel agent gives is going to make you raise an eyebrow. I also have a quick video from the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Or maybe with everything going on these days, he's the great ones. He was asked a question about Donald Trump, and his reaction was a little bit, how do I say it? Anyways, I'll just show you. Today's backdrop comes from Annabelle, who sent in this foggy shot from Georgian Bay in Ontario. Lakes, rivers, and oceans. It's something that I'm not around anymore. So seeing these photos means a lot to me. Thanks for sending it over. All right, let's get into the CBC interview.
My next guest knows all about the decline in Canadian tourism in the U.S. Angela Weir is the co-founder of Vacation Travel Limited, a travel company that specializes in trips to Disney World and Universal Studios. Recently, she has seen a shift in her clients' habits, with many replacing their traditional American vacations with Caribbean cruises. Angela, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. So here we are. I mean, this has been happening for month after month after month, ever since Donald Trump made his 51st state annexation threats and the tariffs. How has your business been directly impacted by clients avoiding travel to the U.S.?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Andrew. It is certainly something that, any of the travel agencies that really focus in on southern destinations within the U.S. are seeing a huge decline. We are seeing lots of people that are now wanting to take their families to Caribbean cruises, perhaps going to all-inclusive resorts in the Caribbean, to Mexico. And a lot of those places do have quite a lot to offer.
They all have plenty to offer. For starters, you're not going to get detained or given attitude by CBP. You're not going to get disappeared by ICE. And you're not going to deal with rude, racist MAGA types who don't want tourists or foreigners in their country and somehow think everything's still perfectly fine the way it is right now. These countries aren't going to tell you, go home Canadians, like what happened in Florida.
We're also seeing families that have sort of their preteen, teenagers that are actually starting to look at, instead of traveling over the winter months, going away in the summer and doing trips to Europe, whether that's a Mediterranean cruise or doing land tours through places like Italy and Ireland.
So, what are you hearing from your clients on the reasons that they are giving you about not wanting to visit the U.S. right now?
Well, there's a number of factors. Quite honestly, I think at the end of the day, it really does come down to the dollar.
Now, when I heard this, my first thought was that this was actually a U.S. travel agency. But nope, to my surprise, it's actually a Canadian travel agency out of Toronto. I expected more from this travel agent. I expected her to actually say the real reason why Canadians are not going to the U.S. right now. To claim at the end of the day it's down to the dollar is completely false. This is the answer I would expect from someone south of the border, not from someone who supposedly understands the Canadian market. So let me ask you, how many of you have canceled your trips to the United States because of the dollar, and not because of the 51st state bullshit and other safety concerns? Let us know in the comments below what you think about this travel agent's reasoning, and whether you agree with me that her answer is a load of crap. And if you do agree with me and you're not subscribed yet, or YouTube randomly unsubbed you again, hit that subscribe button. It really helps to grow the channel.
Because, politics aside, people really are seeing, with that, exchange rate, just how much a vacation, when it looks on paper, it's $4,000, $7,000. And then when you factor in the exchange rates and all of that, it becomes unattainable. And they realize that they can get far more for their money traveling to an alternate destination.
Okay, this part I do agree with. There are plenty of destinations around the world where a Canadian dollar goes way farther. And yeah, you'll save on spending, hotels, accommodation, restaurants, and all of that. But it's not the main reason we're avoiding the United States. I would bring up the exchange rate from last year versus this year again, but we all know the dollar isn't far off from where it was when Trump was not in office. Yes, I know that inflation plays a part, and I'm not denying that. But don't discount or downplay one of the major reasons why Canadians are not going south.
There is certainly a lot of people who, I want to say, support Canada. We certainly do. We're certainly seeing that in the travel industry, where people who are choosing to travel, I say shop local, see the world. They are certainly wanting to support local industries. but not wanting to go to the US, again, a lot of it is the politics. People are, of course, very angry with, tariffs and things like that. And there is a lot of concern, and they're choosing to spend their dollars elsewhere.
Why does this woman refuse to say that one of the reasons is the 51st state? We all know it. Even the CBC host said at the start of the interview. Yet somehow this woman blames everything on the tariffs. Are you avoiding the US because of the tariffs? Because it's definitely not the reason for me. During Trump's last term, there were tariffs, and that didn't stop me from going to the US. But term number 2? The moment Trump started talking about annexing our country, that crossed the line for me. So yeah, it's a huge reason for a lot of us, and even for millions of Canadians. So why won't this woman say it? Let me know in the comments why you think she refuses to mention the 51st state rhetoric as a reason.
And so what are some of the other destinations other than staying in Canada that are affordable as the US for Canadians?
Well, as I said, people are finding that Europe is actually more affordable than what they had thought previously. Or again, when you start doing comparisons, when you're looking at the dollar value of doing an exchange rate of what you are going to be paying for a US vacation, sometimes doing a week-long trip through Europe is not that much more expensive.
Wait, not that much more expensive than going to the US? I thought she just said that Canadians are avoiding the US because of the dollar. So now suddenly, Canadians are totally fine spending more to go to Europe. Which one is it? Because you can't have it both ways.
The other thing that we are seeing is there's a lot of not just family travel, but with the snowbirds, people who would normally go down to Florida for the winter, who would go to Arizona for the winter. They're actually themselves starting to do what we're calling extended stays, doing villas, doing condos through the winter months. Maybe not for 3 months. Now they're only going 28 days, but they're going to destinations like Spain, like Portugal, to Mexico. They still want to get away from that snow, but they're willing to shorten the length of stay away from our winters to go elsewhere and to not go to the US.
So this part we already know. A lot of snowbirds in this community have completely shifted their usual US trips over to Mexico, Europe, and even South America. And I'm bringing this up because many US businesses, tourism officials, and government officials are still acting like Canadians have nowhere else to go. They're stuck in that US exceptionalism mindset. One of our viewers messaged me after I covered the Arizona tourism CEO, the one who said that we will cave and go back to Arizona once the snow hits. He was so pissed off, he emailed the CEO directly and gave him a piece of his mind. I didn't tell him to do that, but it shows exactly where Canadians are at when it comes to this topic.
So how has it been challenging for you as a travel specialist to kind of pivot during times like these where, Disney was just it was just a destination that just people thought of going all the time. And now they're saying, no way, because of Trump.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there are still people that are going to go there. And I want to say this is a result of COVID. People lost time. They lost years. They lost doing things with their families. And so some people are still willing to overlook that. They're still willing to go. Mm-hmm. Certainly the numbers are down. But that being said, pivoting is part of being a travel advisor.
Now in 2025, I honestly don't know anyone who still uses a travel agent to book a flight or vacation. Everything can be done online, on your own, in a few clicks. But hey, to each their own, I guess. I'm going to cut the interview here because after this, she just talks about where she's been traveling to. Been here like 20 times, been to this place and that place and whatever else. And she tells how her experience is needed for her clients. If you want to watch the rest, the link is in the description below. But I really wanted to show this report because I really question why she refuses to mention the 51st state. If she was a US travel agent, sure, I'd expect the answer that we got. And for a Canadian travel agency, you'd think we get a more realistic, fact-based explanation. I mean, she is Canadian, right? And speaking of Canadians, the great one, Wayne Gretzky, was on a podcast recently, and he was asked about the criticism he's been getting. I'll play the clip for you, and I'll give you my thoughts later.
Received a lot of criticism about not defending the country, about the 51st state stuff that Donald Trump said. Do you understand the criticism?
Oh, sure, because Canadians are proud. But here's the two factors. I don't know how many people move to the U.S., whether it's business or entertainment hockey, and I don't know the exact number, but I would tell you that over 90% of them become American citizens. I never became an American citizen. I'm Canadian. I can't vote in the U.S. because I live in the U.S. and I'm Canadian. I can't vote in Canada because I don't live in Canada. I'm not into politics.
Sorry, great one. But back in the 2019 Canadian election, I was living overseas during my first stint away from home, and I was able to vote. I registered through the International Register of Electors. They mailed me a ballot. I voted using the last riding I lived in, and I dropped it off at the High Commission of Canada. So on that part, you're wrong. And any Canadian living abroad can also back this up. And yeah, that 90% number you threw out, I'm not so sure about that either.
And so I can't stop the prime minister for saying something. I can't stop the president for saying something. I just kind of like, well, I'm just a hockey player. Simple as that.
I'm just a hockey player who happened to be good friends with a guy who wants to take over my country. But hey, I'm still friends with him. Look, people can be friends with whoever they want. That's fine. But if your friend is openly threatening another country, your country, and you shrug it off like nothing, it tells me everything I need to know. It also shows me where your values are. It shows me what actually matters to you, and it clearly isn't Canada.
But you're a voice that people want to hear from. You do understand. You do understand that. You do.
Sure. But as I said to the prime minister, he wouldn't tell me how to play hockey. I'm not going to tell him what to do in politics. Simple as that. I understand. Canadians are proud. Simple as that.
But it kind of hurt me.
I told him, I said, we'll make the United States the 12th province. So
I don't mind that.
Just tell Donald that, okay, Wayne? Just tell Donald that.
Did it hurt a little bit though, Wayne?
Oh, people are going to say and believe what they want, right? The bottom line is, I know in my heart I'm Canadian, and stayed Canadian, and Canadian citizen for life, and simple as that.
I really wish the guy at the bottom finished what he was going to say. You could hear him start off with, "It kind of hurt me," and he got cut off. But I'm with him. The great one's actions do hurt. This was someone I looked up to my whole childhood. I have his rookie card. I had his silver Easton aluminum stick that he made famous. I even had the tabletop hockey thing that he branded. So Wayne, we're not asking you to tell the Prime Minister how to run the country. No one's expecting that. All Canadians wanted was something simple. Just a basic line like, "I don't agree with the 51st state talk," or "I don't condone what Trump is doing." That was it. That's all it would have taken. But the fact that you didn't say anything, that silence is pretty much everything. And honestly, these photos speak even louder. Now, I already know what the haters are going to say. Wayne did so much for hockey. Give him a break, or you're being too hard on him. Yeah, sorry. The NHL is not more important to me than my country. And anyone giving Wayne a free pass right now is basically putting a hockey legend above Canada as well. All right, that's it for today. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like and subscribe if you found any value in my video. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.